everyone to the September 25th meeting of the Health and Education Committee. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
Madam Chairman, I reviewed those minutes. I found them in order and moved that they be approved as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, Health Department, Ms. Garrett. We have some.
Good evening.
We have some new commissioners, so
Yes.
walk us through it slowly and
All right.
not too slowly though, because Superintendent Spurlock has a grandbaby on the way.
Oh,
so,
that's
yeah.
very important. We can't miss that. We can't miss that. I'm Dana Garrett. I'm the director at the Health Department. I've been there for 20 years. I was a staff nurse, started there, and then promoted to nursing supervisor, and now I've been the director for about 10 years now. Every month I bring you kind of our report of services and things that we do. So our mission is to protect, promote, and improve the health and prosperity of people in Rutherford County. And so I break down the report. It's on your iPad in the color. And I have the services that kind of protect the citizens, the services we do that promote health, and the services that improve health. My iPad never works right. That's why I bring paper. I always have trouble with those things.
And you want to explain to me your funding is pass-through funding?
Yes, yes. So most of our funding is from the State Department of Health and federal funding. We have a large contract with the county, and the county does a lot of pass-through funds for us as well, and managing of programs and employees for us.
You offer dental?
Yes, so we have a full range of services. It's kind of easier to tell you what we don't do, but we offer primary care, we offer what's called family planning, we offer dental for children and emergency adult dental. Right now our dentist is on maternity leave, so not right now, but we try to when our dentist is there. We do a lot of prevention work in the community, working on preventing the big four. So we know we have a lot of problems with obesity in our community. We have a lot of problems with inactivity in our community, tobacco use in our community, and also the last one would be drug use and alcohol abuse. So those are what we call our big four. So we really target a lot of our prevention projects and prevention monies towards those four things. We do a community health needs assessment every 3 years where we do listening sessions with the community. We partner with the major players in health in this community, Primary Care and Hope and the hospitals and the VA, and we get together and come up with what are our goals, what do we want to work towards, and how can we work together to accomplish those.
You're an award-winning facility as well.
Yes, yes, we've gotten recognition in several different areas, both in efficiency and effectiveness through the Baldrige criteria. We're a level 2 accredited unit there. We were the first in the state to reach that milestone. We're also listed as the 3rd healthiest community in the state of Tennessee. So we kind of go back and forth with Wilson County 2nd and us 3rd. So we go back, and sometimes we're 2nd and sometimes we're 3rd.
Did you do the flu shots?
Oh yes, yes.
That's going to be picking up.
That's exactly. We do have the flu vaccine in. We're doing that walk-in at both our sites in Murfreesboro and Smyrna. Anytime, 8 to 10, 1 to 3 is the best time. If you don't try to come during lunch, we have less staff. It's a little bit harder, but we can do it anytime people walk in during our business hours. And then we do some outreach clinics and those kinds of things as well. We'll be doing some, mass days where we advertise and try to really get people in. But anytime from, now till the peak of the season, which is February, we start to see cases already. We've already seen some cases. So they're few and far between right now, but as we go into the cooler weather, we always see the numbers go up. So people are indoors more. They spread things easier when you're indoors and close to people more often. So yeah, the flu shot is always something I'm talking about usually 6 months out of the year when I come to this meeting. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Commissioner Hershey had something?
Yes, ma'am. One of the things that I was looking here on is tobacco prevention.
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons that I asked to be on Health It is because how I feel for kids with drug prevention as well as tobacco. To my understanding, we're starting to see a problem with, lack of a better term, vaping.
Yes, absolutely.
And I see that this is increasing. Are you going to address this problem as far as with your tobacco prevention?
Yes, so we have a couple of different programs that target, and they have specific components in them that are for vaping or e-cigarette or whatever you might be calling them. We are definitely seeing a spike of that popularity in our younger teens to teen age, because they have them in all kinds of flavors and that. So some of the prevention programs we have going, we do a baby and me program, and that is for pregnant moms that are still smoking. We have 11% rate of pregnant moms in Rutherford County that smoke. So, and some of them do not consider themselves smoking because they are vaping. So we added a whole component where we educate each and every person that's on that program about vaping, the dangers of it and that. Now, going to the schools, we've started a new program that I'm going to talk about with you guys tonight, is the Everfly program. And this is a nationally recognized program. It's evidence-based, and basically what they do is they have a whole module on the vaping and how bad it is through the process of the learning. So it's targeting our high school kids and making sure they clearly hear this message about tobacco and the problems that it causes, as well as the vaping and other things, the chew tobacco, the sniff, the snuff, and all those different types of tobacco. There's a module on all of them to discourage and encourage education in those components. And like I said, it's evidence-based. It's actually shown to have a ability, once children complete this curriculum, that they actually have less likely chance that they would smoke in the future or use any tobacco product.
And this will be introduced into the curriculum?
It's already in the curriculum.
It's already in?
It is. It's built into the curriculum. I checked with them to make sure recently when we were meeting with them about starting this program and what they could do for us, and they said there was a component in there.
So how is it taught to the kids? Is it like a program? What is? How does it work?
It is a self-learning module.
Okay.
So they go through it in a timely manner. They have to take a little test, and that's how we know that learning has occurred. And then there's a post-test 6 months later to see that learning has still stayed in place and that they're still thinking about making the correct choices in their thought process. So that's a couple of the ones that we have targeting e-cigarettes. We also everywhere we go, we talk about it in our community presentations that we do. When we talk about tobacco, one of our big four that we're always talking about and working towards, we hand out Quit Line. That's the Tennessee's Quit Line, where you can call and get guidance and even medicines and patches and things like that to help you stop smoking. We talk about that as well when we're giving out information on the Quit Line, about not just tobacco, but about all the tobacco products, all the nicotine products, and how they can be addictive.
Can I have one more question?
Sure.
How much does this program cost?
Which one? The Everfly? The Everfly program. So this is a new thing that we received some money from the legislative branch that said it was tobacco settlement dollars. And we got some of that to work on prevention projects. And it was very specifically targeted on what we could use it for. And one of the groups were to work with school-age children to prevent them from ever starting that habit, because we know how hard it is to quit once people start. So when we got this money, and it is from the tobacco settlement dollars, and what the state did is they passed it through to the county. So it's all reimbursed by the state through this tobacco settlement dollars. And we've had this money now for several years, and we were recognized as one of the top in the United States for reducing asthma rates, because we've brought down smoking in our county, and secondhand smoke in our county, and some of the other things that we actually were able to do. Matter of fact, the legislative branch kept giving us more funds from the tobacco settlement because we were successful. This year, we did not receive the funding, but we have some left over because we were good stewards of our money. So long answer to the question you had, which is it costs $25,000 to do the program. What we were able to do is work out a deal with the EverFi people that they would not only give us that, but they would match it. So they're matching our $25,000. So we got the $25,000 from the settlement dollars from the state, and then we have the $25,000 that they're matching. So we're actually going to be able to offer it at double the amount of schools that we thought we would be able to. Right now we have 14 schools, I believe, that have signed up and are excited about offering this to their kids.
So it's $25,000 for 14 schools.
Well, we can add more. We have room to add more. So we're in the talks with at least 3 more schools. So we can kind of stretch it a little bit, but we're probably at about our max. So about 15 to 16 schools that we can do for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are good questions. Thank you.
Do you want to walk them through the report a little bit?
Yes.
Kind of show them what to look for and some trends, that kind of thing?
Yes. So in our protect column, that's where we've got things like our STD visits, our tuberculosis visits, our immunization visits. Of course, August, we always see a lot of immunizations. Back to school time, we do probably more than we do. July and August are pretty much the biggest months we'll see those in. The environmental health inspectors, they are actually Department of Health employees that are kind of just housed at our facility, but they are in charge of a lot of different services. As you can see, they have to inspect body piercing places, camps and swimming pools, child care. They have to investigate every complaint for a restaurant or hotel that comes in, food services. They do the schools, they inspect them, their cafeterias, tattoos. You can see our reinspection rate, so people who had issues, we have to go back out and reinspect. Those are there. They handle any kind of rabies exposure or cases that we have. They do a lot of training, so at least once a week we have a training room open, and any employees can come over from restaurants and learn about safe food handling and those kinds of things. And that's usually well attended by, we have a lot of restaurants here in Rutherford County. In the promote column, we have a lot about our activities and events and outreach that we do, our diabetes outreach, our what we call primary prevention programs. So trying to prevent health concerns before they're actually causing health issues. And that's where we target on those primary prevention. We have an awesome school dental program. The numbers are 0 in August because we don't start back in that program until September. We let the kids get back in school. But we have one dental hygienist in the schools, and she goes to the schools that qualify. In our county, we have quite a few that qualify, and she does the dental sealants on the teeth. And every month you'll see on this report how many she did and how much savings we saved parents by offering that program in the school. And then each tooth is, a certain amount of cost. And once the sealant is put on there, it helps prevent and delay decay. We've seen some great successes. And also they can triage out if they see someone with some major dental issues that are happening. Maybe mom and dad didn't know, or maybe the child hadn't said anything. They can make sure they get connected to services, the right services. And then in the approved column, that's kind of our patients coming through the door in the building, visits that we see. And we have all kinds of programs that we offer: children's special services, dental, cancer screenings, well child exams for children, family planning. HUGS is a home visiting program. Help Us Grow is what HUGS stands for. Men's health, women's health, nutrition counseling. We do a ton. Our biggest program is probably WIC, the Women, Infant, and Children Nutrition Program. So 2 things qualify a person: their income, it's 250% of poverty. So it has a pretty high income guideline, and also a nutritional need. So most Americans have some kind of we're not getting enough vitamins, we're overweight, we're underweight, those things. So you have to have a nutritional need and the income guideline to qualify. And in Rutherford County, 1 in 2 children qualify for WIC. So it's a very popular program. 5,500 children come through that program each month. And what we do is we give them nutritional advice and guidance. they set goals, and they get vouchers that they can take to the store for food for their family. If they choose to breastfeed and they're a new mom, then they get more food for the family. If they are using formula, then they get less food for the family because formula is an expensive cost, and we know breastfeeding is the best. And if at all possible, we try to do everything we can. We have 4 staff members, and that's their full-time job, is to help women breastfeed, answer their questions, and give them guidance and encouragement through that process. Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Garrett? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. All right, and then you've got the memo of understanding for us?
Yes, yes. So I would like to present the memorandum of agreement for, with the school and the county to use those pass-through dollars to pay for the Everfi program that we discussed earlier, that we were just talking about.
It's a very simple 2-page agreement that's also on your iPad. Well, it's more than 2 pages, but
Yeah.
the summary's in the first 2 pages.
Yes, the summary, the main thing is the first 2 pages.
Anybody have a question about the memorandum of understanding?
It has been already approved by the school board.
Move to approve, Madam Chairman.
Second. Can we do a roll call since it's money?
It's just an
You
agreement.
think you're okay? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Why does that have to come before us?
Well, I'm not really sure, but I think it has to be signed by the mayor, the agreement, so I guess that's
Just for
what I normally
transparency.
do, yeah, is take it here and then it will go to budget as well, and then I guess, I'm not sure the next step, maybe it just goes straight to the commission.
Goes places.
Okay, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Dana?
Yes. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to do that. Thank you. Uh-huh.
All right, we've got the community care report, and we also have an amendment to the lease agreement with community care. Christy Allen is sitting in for Ms. Street today, risk management. Unfortunately, she's had a death in her family. She was not able to be with us, so thank you so much for filling in.
Absolutely, happy to do it. Hello. In reviewing the lease agreement with Community Care, it was discovered that it was not ever clearly defined and spelled out what benefits the employees of Community Care receive. So in doing that, we have an amendment to the lease agreement where it does spell out exactly what benefits the employees do receive. And the former mayor did not want to sign off on it because of a conflict of interest, since he was also the chairman of the board for Community Care. So I'm here to get that approved.
We have about 3 different groups, I guess, that...
Right, 3.
Yeah, who, they are not employees of Rutherford County, but in part of our arrangement with them, it's the airport, community care,
And E911.
and 911.
Yep.
They are not Rutherford County employees, but they do receive insurance benefits, things like
Yes,
that,
ma'am.
through the county. So this was just something that I guess was caught. Ms. Street was looking for something else and found
Absolutely.
this and found that it just said the word insurance, and it didn't specifically clarify exactly what that meant, what that relationship was. So this is really a housekeeping matter to just make sure that everything is clearly defined, and so that's what we're seeking approval for.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
To the new ones, we own the building, but community care has the repair. I don't know how to figure all that out.
Right.
It's different, so.
It is.
Yeah, and if you don't know.
We own the building and the fixtures. I've been told that the beds was fixtures. I don't know.
That I'm not sure of.
So,
Community care is a long-term care facility, for those of you who may not know.
it's interesting to see community care today and what it was beginning of the 1900s, when they had bars across the doors and the patients couldn't get out in the hallways or couldn't go outside and so forth.
Wow.
It's really interesting. I represent the county on community care.
Okay, wonderful. Wonderful.
So, do we have any questions about this for Ms. Allen?
I do, I'm sorry, Chair. I'm reading the minutes, and Mary Burgess asked if the effort was worth because we keep going into the red. Are you aware of that?
She does not attend the community care meeting.
okay.
I
Yeah,
don't.
she's
Oh,
just here for
sorry.
risk management.
Just
yeah.
from risk management here
Yeah.
at the county.
Yeah.
You need to talk to
Sorry.
Ms. Bodkins
That's okay.
about that.
Terry Botkins. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the director.
What do you need from us?
Yeah, we need approval for the
Amendment to the lease agreement.
amendment to the lease agreement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. And then we'll also need an approval for the minutes. There are 2 sets of minutes on your iPad.
July and
August. I'm sorry,
July and September.
September, yeah.
We have come back up to star 4. When we had that big survey and it cost us so much, then we lost our rating as 5 stars. Now we're back up to 4 stars. They're working real hard to get the 5th star.
Madam Chairman,
When I was on the commission, we didn't have any stars. So it's come up that much. It's a good facility.
kind of where I'd like it. I have to go. Madam Chairman, I move to approve the July 12th and the September 6th minutes.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Special projects, Ms. Jolly? And again, if you'll do the same thing for us, we'll walk this group through what this report is.
Basically, on this report, I'm just reporting what hits the books. They're the experts when it comes to this report. So if you have a question, you have to ask them.
Well, Ms. Jolly works in our finance department, and what she basically does is just tracks the spending on each project and see where we're at in terms of what money has already been spent towards construction. And so that's what we're tracking here.
And on page 2, that's just kind of a summary of what's on page 3, 4, and 5. It just tells you the amount that's unobligated per each project. And then on...
These are the open projects that have all been
Yes,
funded.
yes.
So there's no new monies here, it's just how it's being spent.
And on page 7, this is like the source of funds where all the projects, where the money came from for all the projects. I just realized that I sent out the June 30th one
Okay.
instead of the September one, so it doesn't have the new money in it,
Okay.
but I'll have it on there next time.
Okay.
Teresa, is there any, there's no new projects that's been added to this thing since the last time? Any major updates? We're close to closing anything out?
I don't know, Jeff.
I'll be meeting with Mr. Lee to discuss what we can close out. We're talking back and forth on some, but nothing major. We've got some small things we'll be closing out.
Looks like you're really close to closing out Rockyport Middle, maybe.
Rockport Middle.
Percentage spent's 98.7.
Rockport Mill.
Looks like it's close.
I don't know where we are on athletic fields on that.
Right,
Yeah.
the athletic
Yeah.
fields.
Any questions for Ms. Jolly on this report? Typically, we will see this report about a month, or no, about a week in advance, and I'll flip this out to you, so you'll have it, and you'll have more time to look at it, but it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
All right, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good, thank you.
Teresa, you've been doing this a long time?
35 years.
All right, school board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Nice to meet you. I'm Bill Spurlock. Some of you I met, some of you I haven't. Some of you I will be meeting here soon. Okay, what we've got tonight is two general purpose amendments. And you can can find those on tab 1. I think there's maybe about 3 pages of that tab. And then we have a capital project amendment, one capital project amendment. I think it's on tab 2. Maybe there's 3 pages of that. Am I correct on that?
2 or 3,
2
yes,
or
sir.
3. And then we've got a request for a capital project and pursue a EESI loan for energy conservation project.
Can we explain to them what that is?
Yeah, that's go ahead.
Okay. Well, we have done several series of these. We are putting basically energy control systems, among some other things, in our schools. And we did not, initially we were told we would not get any money in the 2018 grant, but there were funds available. And we did put in an application, and we got notification too late to bring it to Health and Ed in June. So here we are in September.
So what we're trying to do is, I think it's about 15 schools we're trying to complete out with the controllers, which gives us our energy conservation, and we'll go over that as we walk through that. Okay. All right, safe schools and school safety. First of all, I just read today, I think the state released information that there was $35 million that was funded through the state on non-recurring funding for the somewhere around 141 school districts. Well, we have an amendment here where we received some of this money. It says this amendment covers the additional $1,306,923 in Tennessee Safe School and School Safety Funds that the system will receive this year. $1,097,740 is non-recurring and $209,183 is a recurring funding. We received $209,170 in safe school funding for the 2017-18 school year. These funds will be expended for safety equipment that will be approved as part of the board's 2018-19 safety plan. Now, what they did is, I think Mr. Odom mentioned that, there was a survey done at the end of the year where they went out to all of our campuses, identified areas that we either passed or failed. This was done by Homeland Security and some of our SROs and some of our safety school personnel that we have in our district office. What we did is we started with the high priority of those that every school had these issues, and then we worked our way down. Obviously, I think it ends up being like 2.1 million, a rough estimate there that we put in, including the grant along with what we put in with the capital outlay. It's not going to address everything, but it's a start as we go forward. And, this is something that's everyone's, listening to, and this is something that we did engage our public with it. And I think some of you attended the safety meeting that we had earlier in the summer, or right before, actually spring.
A lot of the details, let me just make sure that I've
Yeah.
learned. A lot of the details we try not to share
That's correct.
publicly in order to protect the students of the school. If
Right.
anyone has, including the public,
Mhm.
if anyone has specific questions on how these dollars are being spent, they are welcome to come directly to you, to the
Absolutely.
central office, and get any information that
Sure.
they want. We're just not
Yeah.
going to broadcast it
Right,
publicly when we're vulnerable.
Right, for
Yeah.
the obvious reasons, we're not going
Right.
to let them know how we're using it. But I will say that we're going to continue going forward and with our plan as we work our way down our list.
This is another item.
Mhm.
We had a pretty good idea. We did not have a final number of time, and we mentioned it back in June.
Right.
And we have taken the liberty of, we are starting to issue the purchase requisitions. This is a reimbursement grant. We have to turn it around quickly in order to get this money
Right.
before it dies on us.
Gotcha.
So,
All right, recommend motion to amend the 2018-19 general purpose school budget, Fund 141, for the additional $1,306,923 in Tennessee Safe School and School Safety Funds that the system will be received this year. Other state funds account for $46,590 and related $1,306,923 in expenditure for safety equipment, account 72-620-701 as presented.
Jeff, can we take these together? Do we need
Yes,
to?
ma'am.
Okay. All right, donations and appropriations from fund balances. The amendment uses $56,575 in donations and $18,900 in fire insurance proceeds that have gone to fund balance accounts and a new $30,000 donation from the Jennings Jones Foundation to the Spectrum program to fund the expenditures related to this $105,475. Smyrna West Alternative, $7,513 from Smyrna Rotary Club. Coordinated Health, School Health, $34,250 from Ascension Health St. Thomas. Spectrum Program, $7,247 from Jennings Jones Foundation. Children's Charity Fund, $7,565 from United Way and other donors. Blackman High Wrestling Building, $18,900 for demolition. Recommend motion to amend $34,250 from account 34585, restricted for capital projects, $18,900 from account 34655, committed for education, $22,325 for account 39000, unassigned fund balance, and $30,000 donation to related $105,475 in general purpose school fund expenditures as presented.
Do we keep going or we want to break it here?
Need to break there.
Okay. Do you have questions on this?
All of this, you're talking about internal money within your department.
Donations that we have to spend them for the purpose for which they were given.
The unassigned fund balance is internal to the school system, right?
Yes,
That's
yes.
right.
And these, the particular pieces that went to unassigned fund balance were those donations.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make a motion to approve.
Whenever it releases the money, we do a roll call vote. So Becky's going to do a roll call vote for us. Mr. Urban.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Capital Projects Budget Amendment, Fund 177. Each July 1st, outstanding purchase orders in this fund is liquidated. The funds go to fund balance, which is the fund count 34,685, committed for capital projects. These purchase orders are for projects that had not been finished by June 30th. This amendment takes those funds out of the 34,685 committed for capital projects and rebudgets the expenditures for projects that haven't been completed. This year we have $1,542,888 in funds to rebudget. Recommend motion to amend the 2018-19 capital projects budget, Fund 177, by reducing the account 34,685 committed for capital projects by $1,542,888, and by increasing maintenance and repair services, buildings account 91,300-335 by the same amount of $1,542,888 as presented.
And if I may on this one, this is a strange fund for us. Our normal building program POs continue from year to year. This fund, because it is funded by property tax, pennies from property tax, the auditors have decreed that we have to liquidate and then rebudget. That's why it's
For those that aren't closed out.
So we're just putting it in an unassigned fund balance then, and then we're
Well,
rebudgeting.
we're putting it in a part of the
For
fund
capital.
balance for capital projects.
And then rebudgeting back
And
into money.
the other thing that is strange in this fund, it is funded by the property tax. So we don't get any current year revenue until property tax really start posting that budget November, December, and the bulk of it by February. So we are always going to probably lag behind in this fund.
So unlike normal capital projects like building a school, where
Right.
it would carry over from
Right.
year to year, we wouldn't rebudget.
Right.
Right.
Can we go ahead and do the ESI with
Yeah.
that? Can we do the next one?
I do the ESI separate.
You want it
It's a
separate?
different fund again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion on the Fund 177 motion.
So moved.
Carolyn, Joe. All right. Do a roll call.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes.
Okay. EESI loan for energy conservation project. Our 2018 EESI projects total $1,282,842 and will put energy management systems in 15 more of our schools. Rutherford County Schools did not have an approved allocation for this grant in time to take it to Health and Ed in June. We will probably not have any payments due until 2019-20 budget because payments will not start until 60 days after completion of all of these 15 systems. We're seeing savings from these energy conservation projects. In 2011-12, we used 88,256,551 kilowatt hours of electricity for 38,883 K through 12 students. In 2017-18, we used 89,185,452 kilowatt hours of electricity for 44,883 K-12 students. This is a 1.05% increase for 6,000 more students in 2 completely new schools, which are Stewart's Creek High and Rocky Fork Middle, and 1 rebuilt school in John Coleman. If we adjust out these 3 schools, we have a 6.8% drop in our kilowatt hours for the schools we had in 2011-12. At these 2011-12 schools, our savings has covered the rate increases we have seen since then. Recommend motion to approve the school budget's 2018 EESI project of $1,282,842 and the related debt, which will be paid through the general purpose school fund as presented.
Any questions?
I do. So on these energy systems that you're talking about, you're saying they're not going to be completely in until the end of 2019?
It'll take at least up to almost 12 months or less for them to completely put all those in, because they have to go through the entire site.
Yeah, yeah. If it goes well, we may be finished by June 30.
Right.
But I don't, or maybe a little earlier. Last year, we had just under 700,000. We finished that earlier, but we had fewer projects. So I'm thinking it'll pretty well take the entire year.
How do you choose the schools that you want to use?
We had an evaluation done, looking at what were projects that would have a quick payback.
Right.
The average weight on the average is somewhere in the 3 to 4 year range. Some of them might be 7, some are shorter, but that calculated savings through the engineering. And we're financing this over 3 years at 1% interest through the grant.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good interest rate.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion.
The loan document is on your iPads. It's a lot of paper. Well, the whole packet is a lot of paper.
Move to approve, Madam Chairman.
Commissioner Cook?
Yes.
Commissioner Urban?
Yes.
Commissioner Gammon?
Yes.
Commissioner Gurley?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Phillips?
Aye.
Commissioner Allen?
Yes. Do you have anything else you want to go over with us or share?
I don't think so.
We're
At
making
this
any
time.
progress with land?
We are making progress. We should be bringing something forward soon, very soon. The due diligence is taking place, and we should be bringing back something forward soon.
The last time you and I spoke, we were up 1,031 students.
We are.
Is that still roughly the same
We're
number?
still hitting that same number.
This is, how many years in a row, Jeff, is this that we've added 1,000 students?
It's got to be at least, 5 or 6 years, maybe
We
longer.
were down a little bit, but yeah, we've been
Averaging out.
2.5%, a little over 2%, a little over 2.5%.
But whenever we talk about 1,000 students, that's the benchmark
Right.
usually when
Yes.
we begin talking about building a new school.
Right.
It's a school.
That's
Yeah.
the school.
It is.
And keep in mind, when you're dealing with your base increases 2% as opposed to 3%,
Right.
it's still,
Well, and that's why I don't like to talk about percentages.
I don't either.
Yeah, I would, because the teacher-student ratio of the butts and
Absolutely.
seats, that's the number you need
That's
to talk about.
correct.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything with regard to any unusual areas that you didn't expect growth in, or?
It's pretty much staying common. You've got some high density over in the western end of the county. You're seeing a growth really just about everywhere, in terms, out in out in the Siegel area. You know, they're starting to build out there down south toward Christiana. It's growing. I mean, they got several, and Commissioner Phillips and I talked about some of the things they're putting online. So it's kind of growing everywhere. You know, Rutherford County has been a place where everyone wants to relocate. You know, the economy's doing real well. I mean, you don't have to do anything but travel down the road and you see jobs. You know, people wanting people to work, and it's not slowing down.
Well, in the last few years, it's been an anomaly where we've seen the growth in the high schools.
Right.
Are you seeing that
Well,
again this
actually,
year?
it's the middle school.
It's the middle schools this
You
year.
know, in our elementary, generally what they do is they grow as they go, as the year goes along. They start picking up, but it's our middle schools this year that has really grown. Now, the high school grew, everything grew, but
Right.
the middle schools grew, you know, faster.
Is the growth spread out, or is it in one specific area?
You know, it's not what you would say a perfect spread. It, you know, once again, it goes back to the northern end of the county. In the Laverne area, you're seeing growth, and in some areas there, and you also in the Blackman area. And you know, and it's of course in the Siegel area. You know, one of our biggest things is with Siegel Middle School. We're sitting around 1,200 students right now, and you know, I don't know how many portals was it, about 10 portables or something like that?
I think so.
Somewhere like that. And in Blackman Middle School, we're about 1,485.
Wow.
You
That's a
know,
big number for a
it's a
school.
huge, you know, it's a huge number.
How are your town halls going?
Going real well. We've met twice. We started at Stewart's Creek, and we had the opportunity to be at Laverne Middle School, and you know, the people are turning out. And what we're doing is we're evaluating it as we go along, and we're kind of tweaking it a little bit. You know, our next meeting, I think, is in October at Smyrna High School. Yeah.
And then you're about to launch the conversations, I guess, publicly about rezoning?
We are. We're starting that in October. We are.
Good luck.
And we'll be going several, thank you.
I think you found at Stewart's Creek, you got some unusual questions.
Yes, I did. You were there. Appreciate you being there. But it's getting better. It's getting a lot better, and we're you know, we're engaging the public and being a little transparent with them. Not that we haven't been, but we're trying to win them over and let them become our advocates.
With opening 2 schools in the next year, what are we doing in terms of, that's going to require a lot of staffing. What are you doing about getting teachers?
Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to be, in October, we're going to be getting our principal in place. Now, we'll go through the process of, you know, putting out the, you know, the job description and taking applications and going through that process. And then once we do that, Mr. Sandvig and I will be going through a variety of different things that we're looking at the students that are being pulled from each individual school and things of that nature, and making sure that we're meeting, you know, what's called educational equity in terms of the teachers that are going to the schools. That's a big word nowadays in terms in the State Department. It's not just about money. It's about the quality of educators that are going to these schools. It's about the programs that are being offered, making sure, you know, that's a big push by the under the accountability piece.
Okay.
You know.
I'm just wondering where you're going to find all those teachers. I know that pool
Well,
is shrinking.
funny you should mention that. Since, I mean, MTSU's pushing out about 150, 175, which is way down. We're gonna be starting early in February with our teacher fair that we do. We probably could have started the first day of school today, you know, to recruit, but we got our job cut out for us.
Next question about about 2 new schools, is that right?
Right.
School resource officers, did they go in effect right away?
They do.
How do you
They have
determine-
been-
They do go in effect. You know, and I'll be honest with you, I won't speak on behalf of Sheriff Fitzhugh, but that's been a challenge too.
So I figure that would cost, we'll
Right.
have to figure that in as well.
That's right.
Myself being a police officer, that's
Right.
my big concern is these safeties.
And one of the things I will say, and I've said it many times, but we've even had situations this year that turned out to be nothing but our SROs and our sheriff, sheriff patrol got to it very quickly, took care of it, and you know, we're very blessed that we have effective people that work for the safety of our kids.
You get out pretty quick too. I just got one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was noticing social media sometimes can be a blessing,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it can really
It can
tear
be,
you up.
right.
And I was looking at social media when some of the things
Mhm.
happen, and you've got something in force that reaches out to the parents.
Right, we
when
do.
Something's happening in the schools, because
Right.
I did notice a lot of the parents said, oh, and I
Mhm.
forget who they were saying were
Mhm.
doing it, but they
Right.
were commending
Right.
the school board
Right.
for having someone that was letting the teachers know. But you had a few little things that
Sure.
were slipping out there that weren't true.
Right, absolutely. You know, one of the things,
Yeah.
one of the things about communication, it can be effective and it can be ineffective. And one of the things we've understood, and we do continue to work with everyone, is that, during an investigation, you don't let anything go. You keep it hush-hush, you tell the minimum, and sometimes that's difficult, One of the things we're looking at is we're going to be looking at different things where we're monitoring social media, because a lot of times what we get is parents that are home on Facebook or whatever those social media apps are, and they inform us. But what we like to do is look at programs that actually will send out an alert if something pops that pertains to our school and stuff like that, and like I said, in my experience, when we've had stuff like that, our SROs, our sheriff department has done a phenomenal job in order to get that taken care of immediately.
I might make one comment that in public safety, we did approve this year, we
Mhm.
approved the hiring of the 3 new SROs
That's
for
right.
the 2 schools. They're to be hired, we have funding is there January 1.
Right.
So the sheriff will be, I'm sure, within the next couple of months, be hiring or interviewing those individuals so that they'll be fully trained,
That's
ready
right.
to go, instead of waiting and hiring
Right.
SROs July 1
Mhm.
that are not trained and ready to go into the classroom.
That's
So
right.
this year, this time when we open new schools, we will have fully trained
In advance.
SROs.
Do you have something, Commissioner?
Yeah, I want to follow up on your question on staffing. Based on last year and this year, what was our retention? Did we lose a lot of teachers?
Well, we didn't. We didn't lose as many as we thought. I think we brought an 88% retention for the ones we brought in. Now, one of the things we're doing differently is we've always done an exit interview. Now we're starting a stay interview. Why are you staying?
Right.
Because if we can get that feedback, we can reinforce that in areas where we see a lot of transition, And, quite frankly, there's going to be, it's going to be a paradigm shift as we go forward. Certain teachers want to go to this school A, and they don't want to go to school B.
Right.
So we have to attract them to school B. And it may, and there's some things we can do with some title money where we may be able, if they hit a certain, effectiveness as an educator, that we could use some federal title money to a token of trying to get them to stay.
Right.
Because that's how we will be judged on our equity.
Right.
And there's some things we as a school system will have to, this will be different, but we're in different times,
Any more questions for Superintendent or Mr. Shandy?
I've got a kind of strange request, and it may not be possible, Jeff, but knowing some of the statistics that you pulled in the past, I believe it probably is. I know an adjunct professor at MTSU that travels and teaches postgraduate courses for teachers who are looking for master's EDU type of degrees. And in remote parts of the state, actually, Middle Tennessee mostly, but remote parts. And when he's teaching those teachers, kind of go through some stats as to what their counties are going through, and most every county that he goes and teaches those classes in haven't built a school in 40 years. And it just sprung a thought in my mind. How many schools have been built statewide the last 5-10 years? and then how many in our county have been built the last 5 or 10 years. It'd be kind of interesting to know what other counties are doing. So if those things are available, Jeff, you don't have to do it anytime soon, and you don't even have to do it at all, but it'd be interesting to know. If there were 10 high schools, 10 schools built in the last 10 years, and 8 of them were in Rutherford County, it would jump out at me. And,
you know, one of the things I found kind of interesting as I've been going through functions as a director of schools is you get to, they're blown away with the number of kids that we're bringing in. I mean, we've got systems in East Tennessee that are losing kids,
And West.
you know, and West, but they're blown away. I mean, they may have not have built a school in the last 30 years, and their enrollment is decreasing. They're shutting down schools. You know, I mean, it just speaks. I mean, it speaks volumes of our area, but it also it creates issues. You know, and that's really I mean, it's amazing. They say you the guys that add 1,000 kids a year. You know, that's almost a third of what our whole district's like. You know.
Well, I think, Commissioner Phillips, if you looked at Wilson, Williamson, us, Sumner, sometimes Clarksville, Montgomery, but the counties around Metro are the ones that have had growth in recent years, and have probably the ones who have been building new schools. Some have been replacing old facilities.
I saw Williamson County's got currently has like a little over 40,000 students. They're building 2 new schools. That'll be 47 schools for them. We currently have 47, and really a couple of those are modified. 3 of them are alternative schools, basically whether it's about discipline or about different programs. So we got less schools than they do, you know, per student, right?
it would be interesting to see where the growth is and what schools are being built, and if they're not building schools, how are they managing that growth?
Absolutely.
It might send us out some opportunity for us.
I think so.
It'd be really interesting.
I agree with you.
To see, and you don't have to jump on that, Jeff. I know what fall is like.
He likes those numbers now.
I know some people I can check with.
And just sometime in the next few months is fine.
I was wondering of the teachers that you did lose, how many of them had advanced degrees?
Very few. You know, usually it's those that are in their first 3 or 4 years, you know, of school, of teaching. That's where you see a transition. And not all of them are getting, I mean, most of them are just going, you know, relocating. It's primarily the millennials, you know, and we're seeing that a lot. We're seeing a shift in our teaching. Our teachers were, the majority of them that fall into that category, you know. And when we do our exit interviews, they're positive. It's just that we're relocating to be closer to home or vice versa. You know, a lot of variety of different things.
What about the ones that stayed on?
Right. I think some of the things that they speak highly of is our professional development that we do, as far as individual meeting the needs of what their deficiencies may be or challenges may be. That's one of the big things, being able to receive individualized professional development.
You guys have department chairs within your school?
We do. We do.
The report that came out, I can't remember how many schools it was that received
Reward status?
reward
status, right. There was 15 of them. It was primarily, you know, imagine this, it was primarily most of them were our elementary schools. They did paper and pencil. And we did have Central Magnet and Holloway, not Holloway, excuse me, Central Magnet and Eagleville were 2 unique that were not, you know, all paper and pencil. Yeah.
I guess the point is that, Bill, 24 years ago, Rutherford County schools had a stigma that they were subclass as it related to Murfreesboro school systems. I've seen the transformation over the last 20 years.
I think it's-
Also in that same article, there were 0
right.
city schools. Are you seeing any city students, young city students that prefer county schools over city school system now? Or is there any way to tell that?
Well, you know, we get them, we can get them in the 6th grade. Now, keep in mind, the city went all in on the free lunch program a few years back, and we saw a decline in the 6th grade, and then all of a sudden, boom, they come to us in 7th grade. But this recent year, they shut some of those down at different schools, so we saw an increase, an increase in those 6th grades. But to answer your question, you know, I think I think they're very excited to go to come to our schools.
There's nothing wrong with the Murfreesboro school
No, there's
system.
nothing wrong at all. I think it's,
But it was really interesting to see that comparison,
Right.
especially since what we went through years and years ago, and just to see the reversal of those types of things now is really kind of interesting, and it's a credit to the school board.
I agree.
And,
You
the
know,
administration of the school board, and also the county willing to step up to.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that really, and this can change at as we grow larger, for us to have the enrollment that we have for our graduation rate to be as high as it is, 95. That's phenomenal. It may not sound like it is, but that's phenomenal for a school district that's the 4th largest district in the state of Tennessee. It's and like I said, it's a testimony of the support we get from all of our parents, the support we get from our school board, the support we get from our county commission.
It's a good question.
Do you offer any type of incentives for your teachers with bachelor to go on and get their masters?
We do pay for a few years back, the state kind of wiped that all out in terms of funding us, but we do go up to the masters. We don't necessarily pay them to go back to school, but when they get it, they get that salary increase.
Because I know some schools, pay like $500 a semester before they go back and get their masters. And then they have to sign an agreement that they'll stay 2 years after they get their masters.
Absolutely. One of the things we are in the process of doing, we're becoming a early educational preparation program, EPP. And this is primarily what we're doing is when we bring in, like for a teacher in a career technical education, and they've got 5 or maybe multitude of years in that area, and they may want to just go back and do, they've retired and want to go back and do teaching. Now, we can't match their salary, we can't match that, and it's not the reason why they go. But then we have to tell them, well, you got to go back to school and get this additional coursework, and it's probably going to cost you probably, I don't know, $3,000 or $4,000 to do it, and that's a hard sell. So what we're doing is we're working through the state to get licensed as where we can teach that at a minimal cost to our teachers that want to come in and teach in those programs. So that instead of $3,000 or $4,000, we can get them in and out with less than $500.
That's very good, because I've never quite understood why. Always thought it was kind of protective of the
University.
teacher protection or whatever, afraid to compete or whatever, but I never quite understood why I could design cell sites. I could teach fellow engineers how to design cell sites, but I'm not qualified to teach students how to design cell sites or network or anything like that, because I don't have X number of particular classes.
When we get licensed, we got a job for you.
I don't want to go far, but it's something I'm glad you're addressing, because I think it's important. There are a lot of people.
You're highly recommended.
There's a lot of people.
Yes, sir, I agree with you.
Have the skills, they just don't have the particular.
Yes, sir, and we've got to have those people.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right, if there's anything else for the superintendent, he's headed to the hospital.
All right.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have anything for this committee? Mayor, do you have anything for us?
Good night.
Very good. All right, we are adjourned.